Nobody could forget what happened that night in Austin. Two titans of the technology world stood face to face, and their 25-year rivalry was finally exploding into the open. Bill Gates, drunk on Microsoft's success, had decided to humiliate Michael Dell in front of everyone. Dell is just a company that packages other people's technology, Gates said with a cruel smile. But Dell's response would wipe that smile right off Gates' face. The Future of Technology Summit at Austin Convention Center was the year's most prestigious event. 3,000 technology leaders from around the world had come to see these two legends on the same stage. Bill Gates, at 68, was a visionary who had built the Microsoft empire and changed the world. Michael Dell, at 59, was a revolutionary who had built Dell Technologies from scratch and reshaped the computer industry. Their rivalry dated back to 1984. While Gates focused on changing the world through software, Dell had revolutionized delivering hardware directly to customers. For years, they had criticized each other respectfully, but had never engaged in such an open conflict. Tonight would be different. When Gates took the stage, his confidence was evident in his demeanor. His elegant black suit fit perfectly, as always. When his eyes scanned the room and found Dell, the two made eye contact, and a subtle smile appeared on Gates's face. "Friends," Gates began, adjusting his microphone, "we've gathered here today to discuss the future of technology, but first, we need to learn from the past." The room was silent. Everyone wondered what Gates would say. In the 1980s, the computer industry was the Wild West. Everyone was searching for their own path. Some of us believed in the power of software, saw that technology's real value lay in lines of code. Others chose. Gates paused, turning his eyes to Dell. "To assemble parts made by others." Murmurs rose in the room. This was a direct attack. Dell was sitting in the front row. His expression didn't change. He appeared calm and controlled. He opened his notebook and began writing something. Gates continued, "As Microsoft, we created the software revolution. We changed the lives of billions with Windows. We transformed the business world with Office. We entered entertainment with Xbox. We were always pioneers, took risks, innovated." Applause erupted. Gates' supporters were thrilled. "But there are some companies," Gates' voice hardened, "that are just assemblers. They take others' vision, others' technology, put it in a nice box and sell it. This isn't innovation, this is just packaging." This time, the attack was much more direct. Everyone looked at Dell. Michael Dell closed his notebook and began walking toward the stage. The moderator was surprised. This wasn't how the program was supposed to go, but Dell requested the microphone. "Bill," Dell said, his voice calm but clear, "if you'll allow me, I'd like to say a few things." Gates didn't want to give up the microphone. "Sure, Michael, but let me finish first." "No, Bill." Dell's voice came out stronger. "Now it's my turn." The tension in the room was increasing. Two titans on the same stage, competing for the microphone. Dell took the microphone and turned to the audience. "Friends, you've heard Mr. Gates' story. Now it's time to learn the facts." Dell pulled a paper from his pants pocket. "Bill, you talked about the power of software. You described how revolutionary Microsoft was. But you forgot one thing: customer satisfaction." Gates frowned. "What do you mean?" "What I mean is this." Dell opened the paper. According to 2023 customer satisfaction reports, Dell Technologies has an 87% customer satisfaction score worldwide. Microsoft, however, qu'il s'y piocente. The room fell silent. These numbers were unexpected. Dell continued, "You talked about assembly, Bill. But let me tell you about manufacturing excellence. At Dell, Every computer begins production within 4 hours of receiving an order. Whatever the customer wants, in exactly that configuration, without any inventory, we produce directly. That's just logistics, Gates interjected. Real value is in software, in vision. Want to talk real facts, Bill? Dell's voice hardened. You talk about vision, but the numbers say something different. Dell Technologies' annual revenue is $102 billion. Microsoft's revenue is $211 billion. Yes, you're ahead. But I started in 1984 in my university dorm with $1,000. You dropped out of Harvard, but came from a family where your father was a lawyer and your mother was an IBM executive. This personal attack electrified the room. Gates' face reddened. Family background isn't a guarantee of success, Gates said defensively. You're right, Dell smiled, but resources and connections make things easier. While I was selling computers in a dorm room, you already came from a family working with IBM. Yet look where we've come. Dell opened another page from his notebook. Now let's get to the real point. You called me a packager, but Dell Technologies doesn't just make computers anymore. We have a 40% market share in cloud infrastructure with VMware. We're the world leader in data storage with EMC. We're NVIDIA's biggest partner in AI servers. Gates tried to regain control. Those are all acquisitions, Michael. You bought other people's companies. Acquisition is also a strategy, Bill. Didn't you buy Skype? Didn't you buy LinkedIn? Didn't you buy GitHub for $26.2 billion? Dell's eyes were sparkling. At this point, Gates had started scratching his head. He had gone on the defensive. Dell continued, but here's the real difference, Bill. You make software, I create solutions. When a Fortune 500 company comes to us, we don't just sell them software. We offer them complete digital transformation, hardware, software, services, support, everything integrated. Microsoft also creates solutions, Gates protested. Yes, but your solution is always within the Microsoft ecosystem. The customer has to use Azure, has to use Office 365. In my solution, the customer gets whatever they want. Multi-cloud, multi-vendor, multi-platform. This is real, customer-centric approach. The room was beginning to turn in Dell's favor. Applause was coming. Dell played his final card. And Bill, you talked about taking risks. But I took the biggest risk. In 1984, the direct-to-customer model hadn't occurred to anyone. Bypassing retailers, custom configuration, just-in-time manufacturing, these are Dell innovations. You, on the other hand, bought DOS and made Windows. Brilliant business move, but innovation? Gates was now completely on the defensive. We developed DOS, we wrote Windows from scratch. You bought QDOS from Tim Patterson for $50,000, Bill. Everyone knows this. Dell's voice was now coming out cruelly. The room was starting to get chaotic. Arguments were breaking out between Gates' supporters and Dell's supporters. Dell raised his microphone. Friends, please calm down. I don't want to disrespect Mr. Gates. He really is a great innovator. But defining me as a packager is not correct. Gates tried to take back the microphone. Michael, you're right too, but... I'm not finished yet, Bill. Dell interrupted. I have one more thing to say. Dell took out his phone from his jacket pocket and showed the screen to the audience. This morning, Dell Technologies' market value is $63 billion. You've been retired for a long time, but Microsoft's current success comes from Satya Nadella's cloud-first vision. You were still thinking in the PC era. This final blow was heavy. Gates's face had completely changed. And one more note, Dell continued. I'm 59 years old and still actively managing my company. I'm on the edge, I'm relevant, I'm growing. You, on the other hand, are giving nostalgic speeches. The audience began to stand and applaud. Dell had defeated Gates not only from a business perspective but personally as well. Gates tried one more time to take the microphone. Michael, This isn't fair. Fair? Dell laughed. You tried to humiliate me in front of everyone, Bill. I just responded with facts. This is the business world, where respect is earned, not inherited. The moderator tried to intervene. Maybe we could take a break. No need, Dell said. I finished my speech, and I thank Mr. Gates for giving me this opportunity. Dell put down the microphone and left the stage. Gates was left alone in the middle, in front of thousands of people in the audience. The next day, all technology media made this confrontation headline news. Dell destroys Gates headlines filled the scene. Dell vs. Gates became a trending topic on social media. An analyst at Bloomberg wrote, Michael Dell today defeated not just Bill Gates, but the old tech establishment. In the modern business world, performance speaks, not past achievements. Fortune magazine made this comment. Gates remained a nostalgic visionary, while Dell proved himself to be a pragmatic leader producing solutions in current reality. Dell's assistant told journalists the next morning, Mr. Dell didn't plan this confrontation, but when respect was attacked, he had to defend it. Business facts spoke. Gates made no comment, only sharing this on Twitter. Innovation comes in many forms. Respect to all entrepreneurs. What happened that night in Austin wasn't just an ego war between two billionaires. This was a symbol of the changing of the guard in the technology world, of the old generation making way for the new. Michael Dell had proven that he represented not just production efficiency, but modern business leadership. Bill Gates remained as a legend clinging to past glories, having lost his current relevance. The lesson. Sometimes the greatest innovation comes from humble beginnings, and creating real customer value is more powerful than flashy marketing. What we witnessed that night was more than a business confrontation. It was a masterclass in how preparation, facts, and authentic leadership can triumph over reputation and past achievements. In the modern business world, what you've done recently matters more than what you did decades ago. Michael Dell didn't just win a debate. He demonstrated that true innovation isn't always about creating something entirely new. Sometimes it's about doing something better, more efficiently, and with the customer truly at the center. Conclusion. In business, as in life, respect must be earned continuously, not inherited from past successes. The future belongs to those who adapt, not those who rest on their laurels.